And so we can think in our lives, like, what is it that we do normally take refuge in? When times get tough, when we're feeling anxious, when there's fear, when there's anger, when there's doubt, when we feel restless and just the discomfort of just being in our skin. What do we take refuge in? What do we turn to? What do we find solace in? Or, you know, so is it a substance, an activity, whatever that might be. So it's just more of an inquiry of like, yeah, what do I turn to in those times? And, you know, this is just a thought, and it really is just more for each of us to try it out for ourselves. Is there a possibility of finding refuge in community? Could that be a space where we feel, you know, understood, seen, witnessed, where our suffering is met with loving kindness and compassion, where who we are, just in our essential nature is enough. Doesn't require, you know, the title we wear or history or past or where we're headed or how much we accomplish, but that there's just a sense that I am okay and I'm enough. And I don't need to put that mask on anymore. I don't need to wear that costume here. I can just be. And nothing wrong with putting the costume on at times or mask. That's part of the game. But when we're here, we can pause from the game for a moment or for long enough to touch into something deep within ourselves that our nervous system can perhaps calm down, feel the settling effect, and the animal of our soft body can just be at ease. So in today, in your presence here in the shared space online and in person, we are, you know, taking refuge in community. Maybe you're curious. Maybe you're excited. Maybe you're just looking, right? Observing, whatever that might be, you experience that perhaps a sense of mm, coming home or touching into something you've been called to. There's a tug in this direction and you've responded to it. There's an inclination of the heart mind that is seeking or that knows there's something here. I mean, that's how I felt those years when I was so in touch with stress and suffering. And I didn't know what was ahead in this journey of meditation, but I just knew there's something there. There's something there for me. Having seen the monks and nuns who embodied this and practitioners too, lay people who embody this, I was like, there's got to be something there. I didn't need, to know the features, but I just knew there was something there. And that was enough. And for, certain, maybe there's some personalities in here that's just like mine, where it's like, all right, I'm just going to go all in and really see this. Or maybe it's like, I'm just going to just try a little bit at a time and just feel it out. But that's that part of us, that faith. It's not a blind faith. It's that there's something here. And, maybe we see in our own lives where we felt that kind of confidence of faith. Like we haven't been there before, but we know there's a sense of like, yes, yes. Because I was thinking of a more common everyday term that others would say. And I almost want to say it because it really relates. That someone was telling me, it's where you're like, fuck yes. It's like, you recognize there's really something here and you're just so certain, even though you don't really know. So that kind of yes. And I'm using those words just by way of, helping to carry out the emphasis and expression. But there's this sense of, yes, I know there's something here. And that's that faith. It's not a blind faith. There's a part of us that is like sensing into something, yeah, deeper. And then we get carried away by the winds of life, by the turbulence, by the busyness, by the preoccupation, by our duties, our obligations, and all these things, of being human. Yeah. So today we'll practice slowing down, and what that means today to embody this, what Moses says, slowing down, stopping, stopping you know, the stopping to see what's there, what's currently there right now in our body, in our mind, in our nervous system, in the field of emotions. What's there? We first have to get in touch with it, right? And acknowledge it, come home to it. And so we'll engage in practice, and I'll guide us through a 30-minute guided meditation. And you're welcome to assume any posture that feels supportive for you. So whether that's sitting or standing or lying down, yeah, or yeah, changing to a more comfy chair, yeah. Or so I have the way the chairs is set up right now. You can walk in a circle. Maybe, Carol, I might ask you to maybe shift yourself a little bit to the right side, just in case people want to walk in a circle. They can, yeah, yeah, they could still come through next to you. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. So, you can maybe you want to choose by walking initially, and then maybe come to sitting, or start with sitting and then move to walking. So, remembering that, practicing meditation doesn't have to look any one particular way. The key is cultivating this present moment awareness. Anytime the mind wanders, gently and kindly bring it back and feel ourselves in the body again. And, you know, getting nourishment with the breath. So experimenting too with, our posture, right? What feels supportive? Okay, maybe I chose this posture. Now, yeah, no, this is like not going to work for me. And then moving into another posture. So really honoring how the body is and listening and tuning into it, not forcing it to be some other way, but by accepting and allowing the body to be just the way it is. And then, you know, with that, we honor and we move in accordance, or we shift our posture, or we arrive into stillness, or we soften in a way that allows ourselves to really experience that settling down. So that's not we're not trying to settle down. We're tuning in, and eventually on its own, things will settle down. And if they don't, that's okay too. There's nothing wrong if they don't settle down, but that just helps us to now get in touch with the energy that's there. Ooh, it's really active in there. The mind, the body. Ooh, just getting in touch with that. Right. So in the middle, so after 15 minutes, I'll invite one sound of the bell, just so you know if you want to now break up your practice and then move from one posture to another, you're welcome to do that. So giving yourself this time to feel nourished by the practice of coming home. And then at the end, I will offer a loving kindness song. And yeah, Bridge, you might know it because they sing it at Mount Anna Buddhist Temple. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll offer that song and you're welcome to join me or to just stay in your meditation if you'd like. Yeah. And for those of you on Zoom, if you want to, turn your camera off or keep it on, you want to, walk in a quiet place inside the house or in the backyard, or you want to lie down, you could also do that as well. Yeah. It's amazing how a lot of times we get so, fixed on how our practice should be. I'm teaching a mindfulness-based stress reduction course now, and this past week, the participants like discover that, oh my God, just by relaxing back onto this sofa and feeling this sense of ease was what allowed me to just, touch into that stillness and that nourishment within. There was a sense of, a couple people said it felt restorative, right? So meditation, when we practice, can be really restorative. Even if the mind is restless and, we're jumping from one branch to the next, it's that capacity of, observing and witnessing that calms something inside of us, even if it didn't feel good. Yeah. So acknowledging that it might not feel good or blissful, and that you're still doing the work just by noticing the current state of your mind and your body. So wherever you are, dear friends, I invite you to find a comfortable posture. So whether that's sitting, standing, walking, or lying down, choosing one that supports the sense of stability. Yeah, I'm crossing my feet as well as I'm sitting on this chair. That just feels like natural and comfortable for me. And knowing that, mindfulness is this capacity to be in our body, experiencing our body, in our mind, experiencing our mind. And maybe for now, you notice where there might be some kinks in the neck, or the shoulder. So allowing some stretches and movement if that feels good. And bringing in this intentionality as we transition into the practice. Noticing how the back is, noticing the shoulders and the neck. Softening the spine, or maybe sitting more upright if you want to increase energy and alertness. And if the breath is available for you today, see if you can invite in that deep and long breath. Breathing in and out through the nostrils if that's supportive. And feeling the energy wind coursing through the body. Notice the breath filling up the lungs and belly with air. And the breath emptying, releasing. And you might notice where the body is making contact with the chair, the floor, the cushion, the hard surface. Can you soften? Can you let the tension melt into the surface below you? And with each mindful in-breath and out-breath, softening, resting. This practice is really about learning how to rest while being awake. We're giving ourselves permission to set down the past, set down the future, to set down the to-do lists and projects and conversations, all of the concerns of our lives. Our lives can be set down for now. So can you give yourself permission to set this down? Set all these things down. You might be in touch with sound, the sound of the clock in the room or the sound outside the window. Letting the sound that you are hearing bring you back to the present moment. Ah, sound. That means I'm here. I've arrived. So sound can be grounding. Anytime the mind wanders, we return to hearing sound. Oh, I've returned. I've come back. Maybe it's feeling the hardness of where the body is in contact with the surface. Grounding. Settling. Or maybe it's staying with the breath, letting the breath be your anchor. Notice how when we pay attention to the breath wants to breathe in a certain way. There's not one right way, there's just a way. So trusting in the way of the breath. Trusting that the breath is here to take care of you if you come back, pay attention, listen, and honor this body breathing. Mindfulness is interested in what is here now. We're included inside of our practice, whatever shows up, whether it's in the mind, in bodily sensations, in feelings, or even sound, all is included and welcomed here. Notice when the mind gets caught in wanting things to be some other way. And that moment of recognition could be soften, back into the body, and maybe even bringing in this quality of love and kindness, this friendliness towards whatever's here. Oh, hello, thought. Hello, feeling. Hello, pain body. I've come home to be with you now. hear the sound of the bell to as a indicator if you'd like to shift posture, or you're welcome to continue sitting in the posture you've chosen. Thing can be held container of awareness. So we're experiencing a restless mind, drowsy, sleepy mind. Can awareness see this, experience this, without judging it, without wishing it to be any other way? Just recognizing what's present. and turning towards our experience with this kindness, this grace, tenderness. This quality of interest and care that we bring to whatever's here. Moment feels like this. This moment looks like this. It's experienced like this. And wanders off in the moment when we are awake and we're here again. Maybe taking a few deep breaths to increase energy, alertness, or maybe shifting the posture slightly, and to return back to the body, connecting with the contact points in the body, connecting to sensation, in pulsing sensation, vibrating sensation, tingling sensation, sharp or dull sensation. So this quality of alertness or awareness that we bring to the experience, to the objects of body or mind, helps us to increase that energy of mindfulness. And filled with love and kindness, may I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May you be filled with love and kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. May we be filled with love and kindness. May we love and kindness. Maybe putting a hand up to your heart if that feels supportive to getting in touch with this heart center. May I be filled with love and kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. And thinking of those who you love, who you want to send this energy of kindness to. May you be filled with love and kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. And to our family, our communities, our country and nations, may we be filled with love and kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be happy. And now to all living beings, humans, non-humans, plants, animals, and minerals, and to the cosmos, may all be filled with love and kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be happy. And then bringing this love back towards ourselves, this heartfulness, this care, this grace, this boundless love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. May I be filled with love and kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. deep in breaths and out breaths if that feels supportive. And opening your awareness to include the whole body. And notice what it feels like to be in your body, experiencing your body right now, exactly where it's at. Maybe feeling the air or feeling heat, feeling the mood and the tone of this moment, exactly the way it is. And as we begin to transition out of meditation, perhaps begin by moving the fingers and toes, rocking the body side to side, stretching the body. And if your eyes were closed, you begin to open them, looking around the room and seeing light, forms, colors, and objects. What's here for you now? What is this moment offering to you? I'd like to invite your voices into the space. What are you noticing? Or maybe what have you touched into in this type of practice? So for those of you on Zoom, you can raise your virtual hand. And for those of you in the room, just raise your hand and we'll pass the mic to you. If you'd like to share what came up for you in your practice. What did you notice? What's here for you now? Anyone able to completely clear their mind of thoughts? That's a trick question. Where is that to-do list or that deadline? Was it close to here or did it get a chance to take a break? Were you able to take a break from that? Things that usually are tugging and calling for our attention, creating anxiety or angst within. Was there any relief? Or was there something that was released? I'd like to share. There's no right or wrong answer, and you're welcome to also share, what it was like for you. Struggle or easeful. I liked it, I didn't like it. I had a hard time with it. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Bridge. I feel that my meditation has changed a lot. I've been on taking kind of making my own sabbatical for the last year. I've been probably meditating about 2 to 3 hours every day. And it's definitely changed a lot. I've grown so much in so many different techniques. I kind of treated more like if I had a car and I'm trying to get my mind up the hill. And I'm using somatic meditations at the beginning and then going into, I guess, more like washing over the body, then emptiness, and all kinds of different stuff. I feel like for me, like it really helps when I have a lot of a huge archive of all kinds of different tools. So that before, when I started meditating, that I would just sit and be. I did a lot of meditations in Sota Buddhism, where we're sitting down and being absolutely trying to find presence directly. But my mind's definitely very different now after 8 months of fanatical amounts of meditation. Um, Pretty empty, but definitely focusing more on all of the vibration, moving from what is nature and what is every part that is natural. I'm doing a study on everything that's the five aggregates. So more going through every step, noticing when my mind is going into the natural states of mind, to like myself as nature. Now that self is nature, that I am samsara. Every single part of me is samsara, except for like the emptiness of sunyata and the central point. But everything else is still always oscillating between one phase and the other. When I stopped really focusing on anything that was, if it's nature, I allow it to be in front of the nature, and I just go like, okay, that's part of the natural world. I am natural, samsara, but there is frequency behind all of it, and it's kind of like this veil, this, you know, like perception or the five aggregates laid over vibration itself, and then behind vibration is that emptiness, But I think most of the time I just really like traveling in through frequency and just seeing it as if it was a little hurricane, and there's like the eye of the storm inside of that hurricane is always like complete centeredness, complete quiet, and it's the middle of it's the center, the wormhole. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you for sharing. And just to, um, highlight and I appreciate what Rich is sharing is around how, it's when we are fighting with the thought, with the nature of the mind, we're adding onto this restlessness. It's like sometimes first we recognize we're restless if we do, but then we get restless that we're restless, right? Or we get anxious that we're anxious. And so there's a way in which we, when we practice, we acknowledge the monkey mind. It's, oh, this is the nature of the mind right now. This is what's happening right now. Right? So that it's allowing, it's giving permission for whatever's here, however the mind is, however the body is. When we stop like trying to make it some other way, it naturally will shift and change, settle, like rise and fall, just like the frequencies of waves in the ocean. This kind of ebb and flow that occurs, but to have that, to allow for that requires this way in which we rest back and you know, let ourselves observe and watch, be really watchful. So we're also working to notice our relationship to what's happening. Like it's one thing, something's happening. And then the second, it's knowing that it's happening. And then the third part is noticing our relationship to what we know is happening. So that relationship we have to step back and look at the mind or look at the emotion from that non-judgmental place, that place of just curiosity and interest. We're not trying to analyze, assess, or figure it out or try to do something with it. This is a very subtle quality. Life out in the world, it's got to do something with what is happening. Got to solve it. Got to fix it. Got to, make something of it, right? Got to make sense of it. Got to, you know, find a pattern or an information about it. So here it's, a very different way of practicing this and know it and just stay in that observer mode, witnessing, witnessing. It's like watching nature before our very eyes, the nature within us. Oh, interesting. This habit energy is impulse. So there's that part in neuroplasticity where a stimulus comes in, and when we're not mindful, when we're absent-minded, we just respond or react, just like that, in our habitual, conditioned way. But through this practice, we're pausing, slowing down and pause. Feel it, get in touch with it, know it, and then also know our relationship to it and perhaps the pattern or conditioning that is manifesting right here and right now, like this. Interesting. And that's where, the training occurs. That's where now the inner intelligence within us can see this and, there's another way to be. All of us, there's this original goodness and wisdom that's there, but it's masked at times by all the busyness and distraction and the ways we've been conditioned with somebody training, and so it's now that pause that allows for wisdom to, arise from within. And that moment, or warmly or friendly, in a friendly way, how to care for the injury inside of us, or the wounds inside of us, or the stories inside of us, or the trauma inside of us. That pause is a skillful, and it makes way for us to now find a new neural pathway, a new pathway in how we respond, responding from the place of mindfulness and wisdom. And that's right effort. Now we put our energy into the right place. We cultivate that heart energy, of love and kindness that is the antidote for doubt, for fear, for anger. Recognizing that these are states of mind, they're not personal. It is when we identify to them that then they, become, it has a room inside of us, inside of our mind. And so this warmth, this friendliness, and diffuse and break up those, solid parts inside, the rigid parts inside of us, the fixed, you know, grasping part inside, those thoughts, those ideals, those should be like this. And this warm friendliness allows for that hand to open and take in the chaos, take in the changes of life, take in the drastic change of life, take in, this ever-changing way of all things, and contemplating this mark of existence, that, oh, it's the changes. And we see ourselves as now one with what's out here. And what's out here is in here. So that's this like emergence with ourselves, with nature, the sense of oneness that we recognize. We can contemplate this within ourselves to understand these truths about how things really are. Like I said earlier, my journey was, understanding suffering, and then it's not so personal anymore. When it's hard, when it's a struggle, when it's painful, it's like, yeah, conception. When we are not mindful, we're forgetful, and we fall into the misconception that it's somehow supposed to be easy and smooth and always good, always in our, in our favor. And we fall into those when we are not mindful. When we are mindful, and wisdom accompanies mindfulness, we remember how things really are. We see clearly into the nature of whatever's going on inside of us. This nature. We see into the nature of pain and change and of self. Margaret is asking about audio going out and in. Oh, are you able to hear me, Margaret? Is my volume okay? No. How about now? Is that better? Okay. Thank you for um, bringing in your voice, your comments. Yeah. We want to make sure everyone can hear. Mm-hmm. Just another 25 minutes. Is everyone okay to continue, or do you need a little break? Then we'll go right into the talk. I'm sort of already kind of on the, the topic. Yeah. Yeah. So today I really wanted to share from this angle of, what it means to embody mindfulness. What does it mean to be mindful, right? Oftentimes, again, some of our habit, energies, and conditioning in the world has this experience, I know for myself too. Okay, I'm going to do mindfulness right now. And it's going to be like this, walking very slowly, or breathing in this way, or sitting in a certain way, and then that transition that occurs when we get in touch with this quality of mindfulness, that is a way that we be, a way that we pause, a way that we tune in to what is happening in the mind before it comes out into words, into actions. Right? So there's this way in which we are observing very closely before it produces a certain result. When it's still in the mind, we can still do something about it. Meaning, we can still see it, watch it, and not let it take over. And then again, when mindfulness is not present, we're absent minded. We're not there, we're forgetful. Right into reactivity, into some automatic default ways of responding, reacting, of having certain views, certain opinions. It's just like right there. But this practice doesn't necessarily mean we have to slow down, but it does help, because when we slow down, we can be more intentional. Just like when I'm just thinking about driving along a road, like let's say it's the gorge, we're driving down the gorge and we're driving in the car, going pretty fast, hour, and we could see the view, but things are passing us very fast. We see the scenery. Yep, yep, I see it. I see the waterfall. I see the Columbia River. I see the trees. I see it. But when we changed our sort of transportation into, going on a bike, we feel the elements more in the wind against our skin or our hair. We feel it in the body, just being in the seat of the chair and our body moving, pedaling, and really in touch with this experience while we're on this journey. We're traveling and we can see more view in more detail. Now, then, if we shift to walking, now we have time to actually pause and to look deeply at that tree, that leaf, that flower, or come close to that waterfall and make contact with it and experience it and immerse into it. So practicing mindfulness can be like this. Helping us to feel, to touch into the experience more fully, connect to it more deeply. So as we have been practicing today, we're practicing to connect deeply to what is going on in here, inside of this framework of, and we're also training on how to look deeply. This morning in my morning meditation group, someone during the sitting period afterwards had shared that they've been really struggling to come back to their practice as they've been practicing, not sure if there's any results. It's like, you come out and I still don't feel good. But what they noticed was in these past days of coming back to the practice again, they noticed they were in touch with the restlessness that arose from, so many changes going on in their life. But there's this and restlessness. So that's the first part, is acknowledging what is happening. And then they notice, ooh, there's this aversion to this restlessness. And as soon as there's this acknowledgement of the aversion to restlessness within, because it's like, then now the mind also, has an experience with what it's becoming aware of. And in that moment, as soon as they recognize the aversion, there, hello, aversion. I know you're here and I've come home to be with you. That's like that kind, that love, that's self-soothing. And the mind just soften and relax. And then the restlessness is still there, but it's not so intense because aversion is no longer there. There's a way that she could be with this experience. So, and then we'll be relating to what's there. How do we relate to our thoughts? Sometimes I'm thinking like with anger, I know I'm angry. And then I'm relating to anger in what way? I feel good about it, righteous. I feel like, no, no, this is like, I have the right to be angry. There's a pride and ego that's there. Or angry is like, God, this doesn't feel good. And I just want to do something or punish someone or whatever it is, to make this go away. Right? So noticing not just the state that we're in, but how are we relating to it? How is our modes of operation, what is there also. So this is kind of something recently I've been guiding our morning group in, is just like this extra layer of awareness where we take even another step back and deepen in what we're seeing and experiencing and feeling in the body and mind. Because we're now really getting into the psyche and, those parts of our tendency that can sometimes be really hidden and obscured. So on one end, we're becoming aware of the top level of mind, the gross level of mind, and then now we're, looking deep. So this practice teaches us how to look deeply within ourselves. And also by way of that, looking deeply at what's outside and around us with non-judgmental awareness, with this way in which we could see truly into the nature of things, where our heart stays open. If we're looking and we become contracted, we feel anxious or fear, then we haven't quite looked deeply at a matter. We're still coming from that way of looking that is from a filter. So just observing, like, oh, yeah, I'm still not seeing this clearly. I still am holding a fixed, trying to like process or work through something. If I feel this hardness inside of me and this tension inside my mind, that tells me I'm still not seeing things clearly. So the body helps us, becomes a litmus test for, am I really seeing this clearly? Right. So in that moment of that hard shell for me and this tension in the mind, it's like, oh, where is there? So I ask myself, where is there still fixed view? Where am I holding on? Or is there this fixed view that I have around something because the heart is not yet open? Yeah, when the heart is open, we're seeing everything from the lens of this generous view. And this is different from this, trying to be positive view. No, this is a generous view of, you know, really looking deeply into the heart of things, into when people are causing harm, when people are unskillful, looking at the heart of what has them be the way they are, what has politicians be the way they are, what has, problems and people be the way they are. We're now looking at things more objectively, seeing all of the conditions that shape something. And we're like a scientist, very objective. We're not being a judge in this moment. We're being like a scientist, looking, examining like a jeweler. Sometimes I even think of it as like mining, patient, like mining for the gold. Where is it? Where is that piece inside? Like when I feel a tension or pain in the body, it's like, it's usually connected to some thought that I'm holding on to, some emotion that's tied to a certain thought or story or narrative or some view. Where is it? Where is it? So staying curious, that's like investigating. Um, so to embody mindfulness or mindful awareness, it is recognizing that moment where we are with our breath, that moment that we feel grounded in the body. That's embodying mindfulness. We don't have to go to some mountain or cave or somewhere remote, but here and now, as you sit in the chair, notice where the bottom side of your body is making contact with the chair, feeling the pressure, the weight. Noticing where you might be tensing up and then softening the legs, the pelvic bowl, the back. We have 24 hours in a day. How will we practice? How will we remember? Right? So, in 24 hours a day, if we want to embody this presence, what activity will we engage in, and what's the quality of our attention are in that activity? So everything can be done with this quality of present moment awareness, whether eating, whether talking, in the bathroom, on our phone, lying down or sitting. It's coming back to connect with what is going on in here. And this is how we develop this deep understanding of body and mind. Whatever occurs in the mind happens to the body. That is happening to the body, also affects the mind. So this relationship is ever present. And, you know, I hear, from practitioners how often we are so disconnected to our body. So one of the bigger parts of this practice is getting in touch with our body, developing that awareness of the somatic experience within. And then for some of us, maybe the practice is this loving kindness practice where we're continuing to acknowledge the good, maybe it's, recognizing I'm enough, I've done enough. That could be kindness right there. I have enough. Giving ourselves permission to just slow down or pause. Yeah, that could be an act of loving kindness. Or even to give ourselves permission to experience joy when it comes our way. Give ourselves permission to feel happy when the conditions in our life are actually quite great, despite everything that's going on up there. And our practice also, you know, helps us to create this internal space. Just by way of things settling down. Now there's space. And when there's space, we're now for more of our life, we're more fully available for our lives, and we're available for joy, for peace. We're available for all the goodness that's also there. And even the most simple, ordinary, mundane things. Yeah. Be like this. It could be simple and maybe even easy. So where is it in life right now that we can see slowing, look deeply, or to feel fully, that help us to be more connected to this nature within us? Is it touching deeply into change or loss or happiness or the conditions that are here that has us get fully in touch with this human experience right now? All of it. not just one aspect of it, but all of it. So I want to pause there and see if anyone has anything you'd like to reflect or ask any questions about the practice, or maybe none of this makes sense. That's also welcome. Yes. Yes, Margaret. You'll need to unmute yourself. Yeah. There you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I will say that the audio was going in and out, and I was just catching part of what you said still. So I don't know quite, but that's okay because it's it's the end of the evening. But
Okay. The internet was
yeah.
unstable. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I did want to say that that I really like what you said about meeting our response in a with tenderness, you know?
Yeah.
And because I realized that I was doing some of that by using one of Thich Nhat Hanh's methods
Mm.
of when I felt aversion or felt version sort of moving in, I'd smile at it, and I was really okay, and I would do that whenever I felt aversion moving in, and uh, it's just a lovely practice in that way. It's a way of practicing loving kindness toward what's happening inside, you know? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So I appreciate what you said.
Thank you, Margaret.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And another piece about, embodying mindfulness is that moment could be so simple as when I'm walking, noticing my feet touching the ground, weight shifting, the other foot lifting up, and then moving forward, and then touching the ground, weight shifting, foot, the other foot lifting up. So in all these ways, it's like, we're learning how to walk again with presence, with love, with this intention, this care when we walk, this care towards our feet when we walk, this care towards our digestive system when we eat.
Mhm.
Anything that we do with care can not only be enjoyed, but also healing and transformative.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyone else with anything you'd like to share? Poem from a colleague of mine at the Mindfulness Center at Brown University. Her name is Jean Trujillo. I think I'm saying her last name correctly, Jean Trujillo. And this poem is like she takes this concept of physics called the physics of gases, and then, sharing this meditation practice. And it goes like this. It's not enough to be aware that a concept exists. You have to know how to apply it to the world around you. If you understand the physics of gases, then you can explain how a microwave heats food. It's always been the mind, our most powerful asset or our greatest weakness. It's not enough to know this idea called mindfulness. How do you live it, breathe it, hear it, feel it? Embody it. Sitting on the cushion, looking out the window, seeing and not seeing. The quadrille pattern of the window screen, drifting in and out, and then awake, aware. Until how much longer? And then unfocused eyes. Was that a thought? Quiet. Thoughts floating in my mind, like oxygen and nitrogen floating in the room. Spaciousness. Wanting to hold on tight. And knowing that striving for a specific outcome yields no specific outcome. Letting go of any hope for result may possibly yield such a result. This looking for answers. Why on some days I drop into the body just like that. Flow in the zone, the mind a friend. And other days there's resistance, an itch, restlessness. For sure, a preference for one experience over another. Wondering if you're experiencing what I'm experiencing, is that philosophy? Drawing connections. This reminds me of that. Mindfulness reminds me of physics of gases. Because mindfulness is more than a concept. It's more than the brain knowing. It's tuning to feeling it in my body until it encompasses all. Do you feel it too? Thank you, friends, for being here today and for joining me in community as we practice cultivating this. It's an active way of being peace. Mm-hmm. And it's just a gift that we give ourselves. It's a generosity to give ourselves this time for ourselves, to be with ourselves, and to do this in community. That's also a gift we give to others. Mm-hmm. Show up for ourselves, for each other. Yeah. Because we all know alone we can get so far, but together, like here and now, this energy of mindfulness, when we practice it, each other, support each other, and calls us back in those moments where we forget, where we are lost, and then remember. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The space here is created by the hearts of many, many generous donation. So I invite you to consider making a donation to help us continue to have the space for people to come to practice. A place of refuge that is so unique, where there's this way in which we can, for a moment, pause from the doing, mm-hmm, back to being. being with ourselves, being with each other, being with all that is nature. So for those in the room here, there's a donation box there. There's also QR codes. And think about, like, when we go to a yoga studio or go out for dinner, what's the value, of our spiritual practice? What do we give to it? What value do we place on it? Yeah. And how do we sustain that for ourselves and for others? Because we need this so much right now. Yeah, a place to land, a place to feel a sense of groundedness as we, after we leave here, we launch back out into the world of our mind and the worlds that's manifested through mind and through many minds. So for those of you online, you can, there's information in the chat that Kendall put in where you can donate. And we are a 501c3, so all of our donation is going directly to support the rent of this space and all the admin things place to run. It also supports our guest teacher, like when we invite teachers from different places, different sanghas to be here. So while Kendo and I, we offer our time and practice, and other home teachers we practice and we offer the teachings freely. Specifically, our goal right now is to support having more teachers from year. We had maybe like 12, 15 teachers of other lineages of Buddhism that also share a different, but the same, practice of Buddhism, of the Dharma, of meditation, of metta, loving kindness, and bringing in their own unique experience and from their teachers and their teacher and their lineages. We had Kozen from Mount Adams Buddhist Temple come here in December, and one of the other Reverend Scott as well. So our mission is to make way for diverse voices to share the Dharma with the community. So taking this motto of, shared teaching, sharing the teaching seat so that our community can really benefit and feel enriched by all the ways the Dharma is expressed, but also centered around the main theme of meditation and mindfulness. Yeah. So thank you everyone for being here. And are we doing snacks today? Yes. So for those of you who'd like to stay and, chat and connect with me or Kendo or with each other, we'll be meeting in the cafeteria in about 10 minutes or so. And, I'll be here if you want to chat with me for a moment as well. And there'll be tea and snacks in there, a little bite. Anything else, Kendo, you want to say?